What's going on? Today's office hours for employment based tips. All right. You're welcome to drop a question in the comment section. I'll get to them soon. We're also live on LinkedIn, and I want to share at least three tips that y'all need to know related to employment sponsorship. Okay. So today is February 7th. Welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting. I practice immigration law in the United States, helping people live and work in America legally. All right. So even if you're abroad, you may need to know this information. All right. So the first tip, let's get straight to it. The first one, it's H1B. Why is this important? More relevant right now is because since today's February 7th, registration typically starts March 1st. And when we say registration, that literally means there's a deadline, there's a window period to get registered. It's really an application. They call it registration, but technically, the result of it is a lottery. You're randomly selected. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what your GPA is, doesn't matter how many degrees, papers that you have. Um, you just need to get registered. Doesn't matter if you're straight C's, it's all good. In America, you can succeed even if you have straight C's. I don't know about D's, but at least straight C's. All right. So, specific to tip number one, okay? Even if you're about to graduate and you have not graduated yet, or if you're HR and you see someone applied and you realize in the application somewhere that they've indicated they are a foreign national, check to make sure that that person, that candidate, is going to graduate by May. Okay, maybe it's like middle of May. It's usually like second or third week of May. Is because, well, two things related to that is that even though the registration is before the um, the graduation, it's okay. They don't ask for the proof of a degree during registration. However, if and when you're selected, the deadline, okay, you find out if you're selected by March 31st. But in terms of preparing the entire package, where an attorney can help you with that, will help the company, that is before the end of June. Okay. And that is when you need that degree. Okay. And even if we've had plenty of clients, like for example, like the foreign national was a dentist or some kind of professional field where you had need some kind of certification, like a board license exam, we can provide that later because we've had some clients where the exam was after the deadline. So we would expect a request for evidence from USCIS. So it's still possible. Of course, preferably we have all the evidence ready to go before the end of June, but we'll let them know. We'll let the USCIS agency know that we don't have this. We expect to give it to you by X date, roughly. So that kind of give you an idea. Now, number two, we'll definitely answer questions. Thanks. Continue dropping in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer, but I want to share three tips for now. The second tip, all right, folks, is that for employment based for residency, you need to know at the really for both in general, the job duties. A lot of companies, employers put on the job posting their preferred qualification. Okay. You can't do that with immigration. You have to put the minimum qualifications. All right. It's very important because you don't want USCIS or Department of Labor thinking you're what we call chilling effect. Okay. That you're trying to dissuade people from applying who possibly could be US citizens or residents already. So you have to put the minimum qualifications based roughly on industry standards, right? So, but here's another tip related to that. Okay, when it comes to the actual residency sponsorship, you cannot. The person who's been working for you, maybe you've had someone working, you've been working for a company for like 3 years. Okay, and it's been, let's just call it the same. Let's just assume it's the same position, and then that company is going to sponsor you in that same position, and or maybe it's an upgrade, like promotion, but that position, that new position requires more than 50% of the type of work you've already done with the same employer. That's not good. Okay, you cannot do that. I'm gonna say that's not good. That's what we call essentially a red flag that USCIS and Department of Labor have. Okay, because, well, it'll be USCIS, because this situation will not come up in the beginning. It's going to come up way farther in advance. It will come up when it's probably about like 2/3 of the way through the process. And at minimum, it takes about 2 years, minimum. Now, where it could take longer is if you're from a national of India, China, um, those two main countries. Philippines and Mexico is not as long, but all the countries is about average 2 years. Okay. All right. So that gonna give you an idea. Now I'm happy to answer some questions. Let's check it out on over here. Good morning to y'all, or good afternoon. All right. So let me hop off. So for those folks, if you're wondering how to get in contact with us, you have more questions, we do offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Best way to do that, if you're on YouTube or LinkedIn, you can see this website here, or you can go to greencardguys.com, or just give us a call. We still do it the old school way. Alrighty. Look forward to assisting you. And now let me hop off LinkedIn. Okay. All right. Now answer y'all's questions on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. All right. Let's see. Let's get on here. Y'all doing all right today? Let's see. Okay. Jojo. Can 245I prevent illegal undocumented immigrants to travel outside for the green card interview? Not necessarily. If you apply for advanced parole and you got that approved, it's valid and unexpired, you can travel. Now, the caveat to anyone who's wanting to travel and has advanced parole is that make sure you don't have any arrest or crimes. Not all crimes would prevent you from being able to re-enter the country, but that's where you definitely need to speak to immigration lawyer one-on-one. Okay. Let's see. Live drama 008. Hello, your petition was approved, and your 45 is saying request for initial evidence. What's my advice? Well, I think I can assume your question, and that is, well, congrats on the I-130 approval. So that does happen from time to time, and you might be wondering, well, how come they didn't approve the 485? Well, here's the deal. Um, the evidence for the I-130 can be different than the evidence that they require for the 485. Okay. So 485 is more so related to you as the beneficiary, the foreign national. So, for example, some people apply for a resident or who are sponsored by, let's say, a resident spouse, and they file the 485. The RFE will likely ask for show proof that you have maintained status. So some people get that confused on why it's different than applying through a U.S. citizen. Because if your spouse is a U.S. citizen, then even if you overstay your visa, it's waived. So there will be no issue of worrying about if you've maintained status. But when your sponsor is a resident, that's a no-go. You don't have that proof, most likely. Well, I don't know your specific situation, but hopefully that gives you an idea. All right, Bella on YouTube, you have a question. That's what I was trying to figure out. You had individual hearing in New York yesterday. Actually, I just got off a meeting with my attorney friend in New York. Let's see, your I-130 for your marriage. You have your I-130 for marriage. The judge made your case to DC. Is that because you live in DC? That makes sense. And he said they can prove my entry in US. Okay. I don't know why a judge would say it that way. Maybe that you mean the judge asked you to provide proof of your entry. Some judges don't mind and might still dismiss a case, even if you don't have proof about entry. But if you don't have proof of entry, then you need to check the what's it called? If you qualify for an exception. So, for example, the first question here on TikTok was about 245I. That is one of the exceptions about entry. You pay a multa in Spanish, is what we call it, I believe, or like a fine. It's $1,000 for 245I. There's a couple other exceptions, but I'm assuming yours is, yeah, yours, you said yours is based on marriage. So happy to chat. Give us a call. Okay. Hey, Tony, what's up? Happy Wednesday. Oh, you can watch at work again. That's good. Oh yeah, because you joined an Instagram the other day, which I realized I'm not on IG right now. Okay. Makan, how to check PD requests with a DHS? Oh my goodness. I wish there was a magic answer for that. Let me get out my 8 ball. There's really no way to check, unfortunately. Okay. The way we check is we email again, we email again. Yes, the part you can see online, the public website, there is a phone number, but it usually goes to voicemail. It's very unfortunate. And it rings and or it may just ring continuously. Um, but try it and see if in your city where you live, because otherwise that's the only option for you if you don't have a lawyer, a law firm. Um, we actually just, for example, we just got a case rescheduled, meaning or put back on the docket. It was off the docket for like 5 years, and without anyone's motion or request, the judge put it back on the docket. So essentially, back on the calendar. The hearing's in a couple weeks for master calendar hearing. Consider it like pretrial. Um, and this is one of those cases that should be dismissed. And it's actually a good thing it got scheduled because their Department of Homeland Security internal policy is more so like, hey, we're gonna their way of prioritizing cases are those that are scheduled, which I know it makes sense to do that, but at the same time, what about the cases that are not scheduled anymore? They're just hanging out basically. They're not even admin closed. It's pretty ridiculous just waiting around. So whatever your frustration is, we definitely sense it as well. I mean, we have it as well for our clients. And yeah, just try to email. Bella, you have withholding removal. I don't know what that means. Like you applied for it or you got it. I guess you applied for it because you still have a case active. Hey, what's up, Moy? Good to see you on TikTok. Um, Unlimitless asked, "What's my favorite Asian food?" I have this. Oh, there's a lot, of course. For Taiwanese cuisine, it would be beef noodle soup. It's a like just saying that if you haven't had it, it's not enough to get you excited about it. You have to like definitely try it yourself at a Taiwanese place. Jojo, you have follow up, Jojo. Which one easier for him to get the citizenship? Um, oh, for your purposes, yeah, your spouse needs to become a citizen. That would be easier for sure in terms of legally speaking. Dami, after VAWA has been transferred to Vermont, what are you to expect? I would not expect any kind of decision notice or even RFE that quickly. When you receive a transfer notice, I know a lot of people have been receiving that also for their waiver 601A cases. That doesn't mean you're going to get a decision or RFE soon. And of course, you're hoping not to get RFE, most of y'all. Um, it's really because they're trying to manage a caseload. So just because a case moves to another location with USCIS doesn't mean an officer is going to pick that file right up and start working on it. Because typically, when they do transfer notices, a lot of cases get transferred at the same time. It's not just yours. So overall, though, they try Avawa. They try to. Oh no, they try, but it seems that the average processing time for VAWA I-360 is about 3 years. Mesha Scott, what is the special juvenile immigrant processing time? It's hard to say because it depends on if you're talking about the I-360 application or the waiting for the green card part. And then, so if you already got the petition I-360 approved, then that's step number one. The next thing is the for residency, and that depends on the EB4 category. Let me see if I could find it here for y'all. Uh, oh well, you're on TikTok, but let me share my screen for the others. Okay, so here it is. Special immigrant juveniles is tucked under with Employment-based category. I don't know why they put it there, but it's under certain special immigrants, so it's EB4. If you go down to chart A, so if you're wondering how am I getting this info, just Google search Visa Bulletin and it should pop up one of the first top search results. Um, and you have to make sure it's a .gov website. Okay, so EB4, they're working on cases. Just talking about the left column, all chargeability areas except those listed, because the ones those listed are China, India, Mexico, and Philippines. But anyway, so that's any Central American countries would be on the left column. They're working on cases that were filed with prior date May 2019. Okay, Mesha. So hopefully that gives you more context. I was hopefully able to answer your question. Alrighty. Maze Creations. Oh, it went after I click on something, it goes away. Let me go down. By the way, this is a good time to ask y'all if you appreciate the way, or if you just enjoy how I share content and answers here. Two things. Please go ahead, give us a follow. Okay. The second thing, because I try to go live Monday through Friday around noon. The second thing is this is information. I'm trying to point you in the right direction. Okay. If anything, try to get you unstuck out of your situation. But the thing is, especially if you have a denial letter, RFE, criminal record, even if it's just one, even if you're only arrested, give us a call, schedule a time, because we want to make sure that you are on the right path to get secure legal status and that you know what the solution is. Um, as a disclaimer, because you have to get advice. This is not legal advice. You have to talk to a lawyer one on one, not with a big group here like a live show. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, on to May's creation. Let me pin your comment again. Your father had a criminal record. He's been in Mexico for over 15 years. Could still get the visa fat at least? Okay. Uh, Possible, but I don't know what his crimes are, right? So it depends. But generally speaking, if it's been over 15 years and he's in or over 10 years, um, there's a pathway to come back. Even if your situation is it's not been 10 years yet, then you have to apply for a waiver. So maybe he wasn't eligible for a waiver, and that's okay now because it's been excuse me, been over 10 years. So typically you don't need to file an extra application because that would take longer too. Okay. So Maze Creations, give us a chat, okay? Contact us. Let's verify that for you. Yeah, you're how long does it take for a US citizen to fix a Salvadorian? Um I'm assuming it's based on marriage. Is that what you're referring to? Okay, there we go. Okay, so is this for a spouse? You're sponsored by a spouse, U.S. citizen? It depends. It depends if you enter with a visa or not. I don't want to make assumptions, but if someone entered without a visa, there are some exceptions based on the law. Many people don't qualify for the exception, but that's something we as attorneys we review that just to make sure. Because if you don't qualify for exception and you enter without a visa, then you have to apply for a waiver. But not everyone's eligible for a waiver. Okay, unfortunately. Um, some people think that children who are U.S. citizens or residents, they likely wouldn't be residents, most likely citizens. Some people think they qualify as a or are considered qualified relative and makes them eligible. They do not count, unfortunately. It's only a spouse or a parent who has status, U.S. citizen or resident. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out. So with that being said, to answer your question directly, it would be faster, of course, if you did enter with a visa. If not, it's going to take probably 3 or 4 more years after you file. So that's the thing, folks. USCIS fees are going up April 1st. So don't let that discourage you, or even if the processing times are longer than you anticipated, that should not discourage you. If anything, it should encourage you to file sooner. Because I know many of y'all are eligible, but for some reason that we don't know, y'all don't file it. Look, it's our pleasure to assist you from start to finish, but some of y'all call us back, 6 months later, and like John, or my associates' names, my cares team, like, okay, I'm finally ready. I had a kid, so I was busy. Like things happen. I get it. I went to the grocery store and then I forgot about my legal status. Make sure you set a goal for yourself to get legal status because a lot of people forget. Put it on your freaking calendar. All right. So, Yesenia Gonzalez, transfer your case to NVC. Okay, that's good for your I-130. So, your congrats, your I-130 is approved. Mexico, how long does it get an interview for appointment? So, the first thing, even before the waiting for appointment, is you have to upload certain documents to the CEAC portal, ceac.state.gov. Hopefully, by now, you got a welcome letter or email. Um, with a new case number. Sounds like you did. I'm inferring that. A new case number, um, an invoice number because you got to pay the 445, upload those documents. And then after you receive another email, eventually say, I don't know if they use the words documentarily qualified anymore, but the way they phrase it makes it, seem like, okay, everything's uploaded. Now you're basically waiting for the next step. That's trying to tell you you're in line, you're in queue for the interview. So to answer your question directly, probably minimum 6 months. Uh, Quebec or Quebec was law school expensive? Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, I was very fortunate. My mom was able to help me out. Um, but it was not as expensive. I went to a public school. It was not as expensive as, of course, private school. And I still did it in New York. I wanted to get that New York experience. Anyway, but after school, I got out of New York. It's too expensive to live there. Oops, way too expensive to live there, and I bet it's even worse now, even after pandemic. But happy chat. If anyone is interested in going to law school or you're a lawyer right now, happy to chat. Okay, life is short, so please don't. Especially lawyers, please don't do the wrong thing. And some lawyers do the wrong thing on accident. So I'm happy to share my experience so y'all don't suffer. Okay. Y'all have a lot of questions. Thank you so much. Thank you for your trust. Let's see. Okay. After Lupe asks, is it a good idea to reapply for status in the US after beating your felony probation? Well, I don't know what you mean beating felony probation because if you say probation, it means sounds like you didn't get anything dismissed because probation is after being convicted or signing a plea deal. But we can chat about it, chat with my team, find out more. But as best, the best, absolutely best scenario is you didn't have probation at all, and then you get an order or disposition or something that says essentially is like the final document, is a final judgment saying not guilty. Maybe not guilty would be if you had a trial with a jury or a judge, or it was just like what we call prosecutorial discretion, but with for crimes dismissed, motion for dismissal. But happy to chat. Someone asked earlier, city, we're in Houston, Texas. We got an office in Houston, Texas. A lawyer friend in Dallas shares an office with us from time to time if we have to go up there for meetings. But please know we don't actually have our own attorney there right now. Someone someone just showed up randomly. So, but that's why we put by appointment only on our profiles. Let's see. Okay, here we go. By the way, folks, thank you so much for staying online here. If you know someone who has an immigration question, or they're just going through maybe getting engaged, or and they're not a U.S. citizen or resident, share our channel. Okay, I think you can do that on TikTok right over here. So, because we're going live Monday through Friday, so the more people that know about this, the better. Okay, now to Bubbles. All right, we have been waiting almost 2 years for your hubby green card renewal. How much longer will it take? Okay, so I think I saw your question yesterday. Sorry if you didn't hear the answer, but here's two things, a couple things. You're not the only one, but just because you're not the only one doesn't mean don't do anything. So here's the solution. Okay, you can either file a lawsuit for a mandamus lawsuit because 2 years. I mean, for me, even 1 year and a couple months at this point for something like that I-90 is ridiculous. 2 years, almost 2 years is even more ridiculous. So here's the thing. To answer your question directly, I don't know how much longer it take. I-90s, if that's what you filed, they're taking a hell of a long time. Again, because you're not the only one that's commented this question or concern. That's one thing. But if your husband is truly a permanent resident and not a conditional resident, because if it's conditional resident, then you filed the wrong form. But you didn't tell me which form you filed. So, but anytime it's a renewal of the 10-year card, so you get another 10 years, that's the I-90 form. But assuming all that is to be true, then you want to file. Actually, even if you're conditional resident, you want to go ahead and file for application to become a U.S. citizen, naturalization to become a U.S. citizen. I don't like the term naturalization; makes it seem like you're going through some kind of freaking machine. But to become a U.S. citizen, we wouldn't encourage you both. So it depends on your husband, I guess, because some people don't want to become a U.S. citizen. I don't know why. I know for like Chinese nationals tell me something about the banking system. You can't like pull out your money. I don't know if other countries are like that, but if not for that, then I don't know why you wouldn't want to become a U.S. citizen. We've had plenty of clients that finally contact us and they're like, "Bro, I've been having residency for like 20 years." I'm like, "Come on now, you could have been voting all this time." Alrighty. Which, by the way, we do have a video, at least on TikTok, about the risk of not becoming a citizen. So check that out on my profile. I think it was like a couple days ago. Let's see. On to the next question. Ross. Okay, Ross, how much should you wait to apply, or do you mean how long? Apply for residency after getting married. So there's no like legal restriction on that. It's more about, have you built up enough evidence in terms of your marriage? Now, not saying you got to go down to the park and like this night, a bridge and take fancy photos or anything. In fact, we encourage people to only provide like 10 photos. But before, let me get to your question. There's no set timing. It's about the evidence, okay? And the main thing is the account, the bank account. A lot of y'all are shy. You don't want to share your account with your spouse. I don't know why. Maybe you have some trust issues. I get it. You got some money in there. The USCIS does not, there's no law or regulation that says you need to share every single checking, operating account, financial account. It's okay. Just one, folks. Just one. Okay. So you need time. So if you're going to file your case and you're like, come back on the live show and ask, how come my case didn't get waived? I had an interview scheduled. Well, it's probably because maybe you didn't have more evidence about finances. So if you want the best case scenario, don't be in a rush to file your application. I'm not really saying about you specifically, but your question prompted this. Um, yeah, your question prompted this, that you want to get your best package with evidence ready to go to file for the purpose of trying to get your interview waived. Now, for us, for our clients, we're not afraid about the interview. You shouldn't be afraid if you get scheduled for interview anyway. But the trend right now, so far, still in 2024, is the same trend as 2023. That more marriage cases for adjustment of status, the interviews are getting waived. Okay, not for everyone, but seems like a majority for our cases. Hopefully that answers the question in a slightly indirect way. Ross, okay. By the way, folks, if you're just joining the channel now, welcome. My name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in the United States. We have a physical office. I point here, but in Houston, Texas, and yeah, we really care about client service. So check out our reviews online. We have a bunch of 5-star reviews, and give us a follow. All right. Okay. Sorry, I mispronounced this earlier. cubic, cubic. I don't know. Sometimes you want to pronounce things, and you're like, for some reason, I know I'm saying it wrong, but can't get around to it. But anyway, can customs border agents revoke a valid visa for no reason? They even destroyed a valid passport. Yeah, as far as I know, they have a lot of authority, unfortunately. Even when it was even when it was what's it called? During Trump administration and they were checking your cell phones and whatnot, they can do that. National security reasons. They don't have to tell you a reason, unfortunately. But what we do on the back end, okay, is we request a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, to see if they had any kind of notations, something in some kind of file. Um, Maybe nothing will pop up as a result, but it's worth checking their system because that would help you understand if you can reapply for something, right? Because I would hate for someone to file a whole new package or let's say a visitor visa, whatever it is, and then you finally get to interview and they're like, sorry, denied again. So we like data. We like to see the information. So that's something to encourage you. Freedom of Information Act. It's similar to in the local level in the United States, we call it public information request. For example, like with the city or county, if you needed some information, you can request it. I did it for a friend back during pandemic time or something like she asked about like how to get a submit a PIO, public information request for like how many people who had a mental illness or something, teenagers who were in custody or something. I can't remember exactly, but something related to that or committed suicide. Yeah, you can we got the results. You can actually collect that from the county or city. They should have some kind of data. Anyways, I know random for y'all, but it's FOIA is the same process, but with USCIS and CBP. Yeah, where's this person at? Okay, shop now products, you out of here. Block. That person said, "Don't come here. There's no jobs in the market. There's plenty of jobs actually. You just got to find them." So that's the thing about America, folks. Especially if you're a student right now, if you're watching this, or you're working right now, there's plenty of jobs. Look, don't get stuck with an employer or company that you don't like how they do things. Y'all know this. That's a common thing during post pandemic. Okay, you got to be treated with respect. Um, But ultimately, in America, it's all about connections, right? So it's who you know, right? That you so you can get on to the next thing in your life. Um, so if you're in college, it's not always just about the books. It doesn't matter only if you get straight A's. Let me just be honest with y'all. They don't tell you that when you apply for college. Okay, you got to get outside, get some light, go hang out with folks. It's not like you're saying like, oh, I need to meet with like CEOs only or something like you're in college, right? Make connections, build relationships. Okay. You never know who you meet that could have their own company or something. I don't know. Or be your next partner or last partner. Let's see. Clarissa, if someone gets caught at the border, is that considered a crime? Well, not federally, but in Texas, yeah, unfortunately, it's a state crime. I don't remember if they said it's a felony or not. Well, let me see if I can find that out for y'all real quick. Let me see if I can find that for y'all. But in the meantime, yeah, the new crime is a Class B misdemeanor carrying a punishment in Texas for up to 6 months in jail. Repeat offenders could face a second degree felony with a punishment of 2 to 20 years in prison. Yikes. How would they know that information? That'd be interesting how they would keep track of that because on a state level, they've never, as far as I know, they don't keep track of that information. I guess they will now. Okay. Imani Graham. No, the fees did not increase yet, but they increased on paper and it will become effective April 1st, 2024. So that's very close. It's coming up. It's February 7th right now. So y'all got to get your shit together. Excuse my French. and either talk to a lawyer, see if you even want one. But I can say with our team, we really try our best to give you peace of mind, so you don't have to freak out if something happens or policy wise that you think could affect your case. Let me scroll down here. Ooh, yikes. Okay, Margot. Margot asked, you have a hardship waiver. Does that mean it was approved already or you have an off pending with USCIS? If you have a divorce, will it affect your green card? I think you mean like your process is still ongoing. The advice could be different depending on the situation you have. Well, either way, yeah. I mean, if you're still pending, um, your waiver could be approved even if you get divorced, because at that point they might not ask an RFE or whatnot, but it's the 864. After you get approval for a waiver, the next step is to notify National Visa Center that you got approved, but then you have to have an 864 form, affidavit of support, signed by your sponsor. So if your sponsor is a spouse and you get divorced, that's not good, right? And even if you have a co-sponsor, you still need your original sponsor to still sign that form. So it's likely not going to work. I don't see a way around that if you get divorced. But look, I mean, you're in a tough spot. This is a real situation. I'm all about trying to help people mindset wise to help people move on to the next step. And if you're thinking about divorce or your spouse, at least in Texas, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen. So you can't stop it. You just might a person might be able to make it slower. But anyways, I wish you all the best. Okay, let's see here. I think I'm gonna stay on about 10 more minutes. Let me go to routes and routes. And Tony, yes, I am not ready for the Lunar New Year. We got to clean the house. We did a little bit yesterday. We have a lot of superstitions, unfortunately. I think you know this. Routes and routes. You submitted your adjustment AOS forms to Chicago. Yeah, I remember that. Has anyone experienced something similar? You still haven't received the receipt notice. January 4th, 34 days. Hmm. Maybe wait another week, but I mean, you could still submit a inquiry. I don't know how that's possible. I don't remember how my team did it, but even when we don't receive a receipt notice, there's still a box on USCIS website. Well, you're on YouTube, so let me see if I can share my screen about that. USCIS submit inquiry. But let me read your other comments in the meantime. Okay. My camera, my mocam is like right in front of the comments. So I'm trying to move this around. Okay. That's why I have to look around to the side. You've attempted to contact USCIS, but no avail. You plan to wait until the end of the month, okay, before possibly voiding the check. I wouldn't say you had to void it. Did you? I hope you mailed it by USPS or FedEx with tracking. Do you have delivery? Yeah, Tony. Thanks for asking that. Okay, well, I guess you already asked the questions I asked. Thanks, Tony. Indeed, to the Dropbox via USPS. You got proof of delivery. Yeah, then I wouldn't cancel your check. I wouldn't cancel it. Because it got there. You got delivered. At least it got delivered. I know there was a congressman, Green in Houston area, been complaining to USPS last month about our deliveries leaving Houston. It's been slow, but yours actually got delivered, so that's good. Oh, you also submitted an inquiry, no success. Yeah, you wouldn't. It's more about at least contacting them, but we usually don't expect something substantive after that. But at least after you submit an inquiry, it should be at least 30 to 60 days. They're supposed to get back to you. And they usually email something like automated. They tell you exactly how long you should expect the response. But keep in mind, there are some scenarios where you submit a response or inquiry. It's been that amount of time, let's say 30 days. They won't necessarily contact you like the 31st day. It's always like, okay, let's wait another week, and then maybe at that point, that's when I would call in again, which I despise. I also feel for the people that work what we call tier 1 with USCIS, customer service reps, I guess you can call it. I know they try. Some don't try as hard, but they can't give you the information you want. They're not lawyers also, but it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous that sometimes you can't even freaking get through to a human. They set up some kind of automated system. It's like you have to say some magic words to get through. All right, Lucas, what's up? What's up, Beantown? Good afternoon. Can someone get global entry after overstaying in the past but got green card by marriage? As far as I know, you should be able to, as long as you, I think it's you, right, or your spouse, meet the requirements for global entry. Um, which, by the way, just a personal, I guess, personal thing, not legal information. Um, it's kind of a hassle to get global entry. At least when I try to get in pandemic. So there's an app. I think it, I think it's called Mobile Passport or something. As far as I know, it basically serves like very similar to global entry. I know a lot of credit cards like cover the fee or whatnot anyway, but hey, if you're close to airport, go for it because I think the interview is at the airport. Let's see. Okay, your DAC expired. Can you reapply? Yeah, you can, but hopefully not too much time had passed. I don't know. Can't remember exactly how much time. If it passes, then they could say, I've heard this. I haven't had that situation, fortunately, for our clients, because our own clients, we do it in advance, like at least 6 months in advance before it expires. But I would try reapplying or renewing it. Okay. Selenia, sorry if I'm out of order now. Selenia, you tried to apply for U visa, but the officer said you didn't help. It didn't help what? Oh, that you didn't help with what the freak? That's ridiculous. But they hit a dead end. Can I do anything? Okay, it's time to think outside the box, folks. We had a case. I hope to share my story in a way to help you, Selenia. Is that fortunately for you, Visa, you don't have to depend on the police department. However, if the police department is the only entity, law enforcement entity that's helping with the investigation, then you're stuck. But in general, is that you can go to the police department, like your local city police department, your county sheriff's department, if they were doing the investigation, and if in this situation won't help you, but if the case were to move forward, and for some reason the police department move forward to like criminal charge, then you can still get a police department to help you. But if they say no, then you can have a district attorney's office sign it, the use U visa certification, or a judge. But you're at the very early stage. So hope. But anyway, we had a case where the previous lawyer only, I think the communication was only talking to the district attorney's office. The district attorney DA said no. We eventually got the sheriff department to sign off on it. In fact, it was such a horrible situation that there's a press release from the sheriff's department. So yeah, we do a little Google searching ourselves. We don't make assumptions that there's no press release. There could be. So in fact, if there is one out there for you in your situation, Celise or Selenia, then I don't know what you were a victim of. It may also depend on the crime because certain crimes, the police department might not take further action. Okay, so get in contact with us and we'll chat or send us a message on TikTok. Okay. Um, Slavish asked, will SB4 in Texas affect traveling with Mexican passport with ICE? I think you put IS. I think you mean ICE, Immigration Custom Enforcement. Um, traveling where? Well, there's already an older SB4 from 2018 that was passed, and technically, as far as I remember, it means Oh my god, it's been 6 years since that hoopla back then also. Um, Technically, law enforcement can ask you for your legal status, but as far as I know, they don't like to ask generally. They don't want to. It's just more paperwork for them. So all this new laws about immigration in Texas is ridiculous, and Florida, and Arizona. I don't know if I can answer your question directly. I don't know where you're trying to travel to. So I guess yes, possibly. But SB4, I didn't read the whole thing, but the headline about SB4 is about, if you're crossing in, that's the main thing. Okay. Uh, let's see. Okay, next question. Thanks for staying on, folks. Hope you all doing good. Okay, Margo, I see your follow-up comment now. Approved and have your green card. Oh, okay. See, that's the thing about this TikTok thing, scrolling up and down. It's hard to do that when okay, you've had the green card for 5 years. So my advice is different now. So if you had it for 5 years, um, yeah, you're good. Go ahead and get that divorce for sure. Margot, go get it. Go get that thing. Get it done. And in Texas, by the way, you can get a divorce in 2 months at the earliest. This 2 months is the cooling off period. I don't know in other states how long it takes, but assuming Margot, like if someone's or not just Margot, but if someone's spouse is like, oh, whatever, or they don't answer, you can get it done or they sign it off. Earliest is 2 months. And then you can apply to become a citizen because the default when you're not married anymore to that spouse who sponsored you is 5 years of residency, and then you can apply for citizenship. Awesome. Happy for you. All right, peace. What's up? All right, you're a U.S. citizen and would like to bring your father over. What's the process? So I can give you like the short version summary here. Hopefully, you're still on. Is that step number one is a petition? You say bring your father over here. So that sounds like your father is abroad. Then there's 2 phases. You can't file all the forms at once, and the petition will take at least 12 months on average. And then the next phase is really 3 phases. The next step is National Visa Center. Upload the documents to the CAC portal, and then wait for the email to say documentarily qualified, and then you're just waiting for the interview. So overall, it could be 1.5 to 2 years minimum. All right, let's see here. NYC high rises guides. You got divorced and got your papers. Congratulations to you. I'm assuming you mean papers like the green card. You're good to go then. I don't know. Do you have a follow up comment? Let me see. Peace. Does a lawyer only answer questions that feels comfortable with, or blah blah blah, whatever you said, or within process cases? I answer all questions. It's more about TikTok is not it's not that easy. I literally try my best to go one by one, but sometimes when I finally scroll it, it like resets it to be farther down. So no, I'm not trying to intentionally avoid questions. But please bear with me. I already answered your question by this point. Um, honestly, my arm gets a little tired scrolling down. So it is what it is. Um, Leon, what do I think about uploading unsolicited evidence? It depends if you think that what you sent was already sufficient. So it sounds like you don't think it's sufficient. But if you're like, oh man, I already provide 10 photos, I'm gonna get upload 20 more, then no, you don't need to do that. Okay. But I don't know what you're trying to upload. So my advice could be different. But if you have an online account, I mean, why not? I guess doesn't should not hurt. But there's sometimes people provide us evidence. We're like, that's not good. Should not provide that. Let's see. Let me hop over here. Lucas, do we handle T visas? Yes, we do. We absolutely do that. That's part of our mission to help people get legal status in America. What we don't help with, unfortunately, is that we just don't have the capacity for asylum cases, more so because the cases take so long, so many years, and we just don't. We feel bad, like if I get hit by a bus, or the associate that handles it gets hit by a bus. Or maybe I shouldn't say that about them. I can say that about myself. But like my point is like whoever's assigned to it, it'd be great if you had that lawyer for X years. But these cases for asylum take like 4+ years. It's a long time. So actually, we do handle mandamus cases for unreasonable delay, a lawsuit, file a lawsuit against the USCIS if you're waiting for asylum and it's been more than 4 years. But yeah, to your question, yes, we do help with T visas. Um, Now, with T visas, many people assume it's only for people who are smuggled in or human trafficking. But human trafficking also includes, unfortunately, also for better or worse, I guess, better in the sense that it's included at least. But it's unfortunate some people don't get paid their wages. So that's what we call labor trafficking. That is included in T visa, and we've had several clients like that. Let's see here. Margot, oh, you're in Houston too. Okay, cool. Do we do retainers or flat fees? Yeah, we have a flat fee. We do ask for deposit. I can't say the amount on here. I love to share, be transparent. That's what we're about. What we say, share on our website. But you can contact our office or fill out a form on greencardguys.com. My team is happy to share. We don't like hiding the ball. We share everything. Okay. I can't do it on TikTok because they banned me before for like 5 minutes. It was like a really heartbreaking 5 minutes. It's really strange how much we're addicted to phones, unfortunately, or have to at least use our phone. I don't want to call ourselves addicts. Um, Maybe it's like self denial. But yeah, we accept payment plan. Thanks, Margo, for asking. Okay. Bye bye 103. You have advanced parole with married as your basis, and you applied for asylum with USCIS. Can you go to Canada? Well, I don't know which country of nationality you are, by 103, but let's just safely assume that your country of nationality is Canada, then you can't go there. Okay, but you can travel in general abroad, but do not go to your country of nationality. Okay, and make sure you don't have any arrests or crimes. If you got an arrest or a crime, you need to talk to a lawyer 101 for sure, immigration attorney. Sonia Aldo 5. You have U visa. Congratulations. Can you add your stepkids? It depends what you mean by you have U visa. It depends a lot. Generally, yes, but I don't want to promise for you because it can depend on timing. First of all, it's the when did you marry the what's it called? The parent of those kids. Was it before they were 18? That's a more practical question first. Okay. If they were under 18, then yes. I'm assuming so because you're calling them kids right now. But there's many other requirements we would need to look at. If I skipped you, it's on accident. Okay. So please bear with me. I know some people say don't copy and paste. It is kind of like mind boggling sometimes, or I guess gives me a bit of makes me think I'm gonna have deja vu because I'm scrolling up and down. Let's see. Ray, what's up, Ray? Can you file for citizenship and 400 if you have pending I-90? Yes, in general you can, but of course, let's look at the requirements here. And that is, how long have you had residency? Have you had it for, assuming you're not married, then it's default 5 years. If you're married and that's the person who sponsored you, believe it or not, some people get married to someone else. So we just have to check that. But if the person that sponsored you and you're still married to that person, then it's default 3 years. Okay. But I'm assuming because you mentioned I-90 that it's been 5 years for you. Then if that's the case, then yes, you can file. Lucas Beantown, what's up? Okay, saying someone that got threatened by a coyote when they got in the when they got into the U.S. by coyote. They well, first of all, for T visa, the person has to. It could be could qualify. Has to feel comfortable to report that coyote. If they're not willing to share that information, then it's not going to go through. Okay, so hopefully that helps a little. That's a more preliminary question. Daffodil, thanks for the follow. Oh, snap. Good thing I mentioned this. Well, let's thank Beantown for sharing his question because this prompted someone in the audience here, Aisha. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. You have an employer who's taking over 3 months to pay you. What can you do? Well, I'm assuming that you don't have legal status in America, okay? And if you don't, then there's several things you can do. Usually, I can't say for all states. I know for Texas because I'm here. I'm barred. I have a license in Texas, and I have a colleague friend in my and we share office. He helps employment law. Okay, these kind of situations, and so state laws can help you in terms of like the actual money part. Okay, but in terms of legal status, you can apply for T visa. Okay, that's definitely considered labor trafficking. All right, Aisha, contact us. Yours truly, Jazz. What in the world happened in your situation? I need to start a series like that. What in the world happened? Tried to get American passport and customs denied and withheld your birth. Something's going on. Like customs meaning the officer like took your birth certificate. Um, what do you mean? And what do you mean tried to get a passport? Did you apply? Like you had one already, like in your hands, like the pamphlet thing, or you applied for one with the Department of State? Maybe you have a follow-up comment that I didn't see yet. Okay, Lala on TikTok. You're reapplying for I-130 with your mom or for your mom. What happened the first time? Oh, okay. I think I can gather here. Can you add a DNA test with the application or wait till they request it? So I'm making a safe assumption that maybe the birth certificate for yourself as adult son or daughter, you might not have it, or just something's wrong with it where it doesn't identify your mom as the parent, biological parent. If the DNA test is on paper, then go ahead and include it. But you want to definitely make sure in your letter, folks. So how we do it on with our team and pretty much all lawyers that I know, we provide a cover letter. We explain certain situations. Okay, don't just send in the forms and evidence by itself. If you're doing this yourself, because there's some scenarios where like this with Lala, you gotta like be able to explain it to the officer, um, but you can't explain it just through documentation only. Tracy, you're welcome. Your mom overstayed in the Philippines. You mean America? She is only a green card holder here. Can she? Oh, she's in Philippines. Ooh, she overst. Oh, okay. I see what you mean by overstayed. Overstay like how long? Like 6 months? 1 year? Why was it because of pandemic? Taking care of her like family members or something? It's gonna be hard. Okay. So the thing is, shoulda, woulda, coulda. The best situation, of course, is reentry permit. You apply for that before leaving. But for the other folks, but I recommend whatever the reason is. Let's say taking care of a family member, have that information readily available, printed out on paper in a folder in case customs ask. There have been some scenarios, I shit you not, excuse my French. We had a session with someone. They told me that they gave me the A number. We checked that out online. It showed order removed. This person thought he'd become a citizen, blah, blah. It's going to show up later. But anyway, of course, lawyers in general are risk adverse. But I was like, okay, well, You technically can't come back in because you've been order removed. She flew into the airport, of course, the airport. She got through and she was order removed. So you just never know. So I mean, depending on your budget, your mom's budget, I mean, might be a shot to just pay for that plane ticket and just try. Because otherwise you just keep some people just keep delaying, delaying. They're like, oh, it's a lost cause. I mean, what's the alternative? Reapply in general, which is kind of it's I don't know how that works, honestly. It'll be awkward because technically she is a resident still, and then reapplying it just things like that mess up the system because the government is ridiculous. They can't figure it out. Hopefully that helps you out. But welcome to contact us. Okay, let's see. By the way, folks, don't be shy. Anyone is welcome to contact us. Just when you go to our website, greencardguys.com, go to like pre-qualify for a strategy session, something like that. And option number one, but not we have the pre-qualification stage because if we let everyone speak to our attorneys, we wouldn't be able to do the actual work in terms of preparing the package and filing. So please uh, don't be disgruntled. It's no cost to you. So if you really want to talk with one of our team members, we really appreciate it. But they'll see if they can point you in the right direction, give you like email you a free guide or something in the meantime. But otherwise, then you would have to pay for the consult um, strategy session. Okay, let's see here. But the majority of people that contact us, our team lets them pass through. I don't even handle that anymore. My team does that part. Thank the Lord. It's all about training. If you have a business, you got to get those SOPs, standard operating procedures. You got to have your workflow, man. Because if you try to contact a lawyer just to get some, even if they want to pay a consult, man, some law firms, like I just talked to a friend earlier, not going to name names, they don't have a system. So some law firms are slow to get back to you because they don't have a system. Okay. And your phone number could be like laying around on a post it note. We use technology to help us speed through um, and help you out. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say speed through, but be more efficient and not lose files. All right, Van Salem, you're in Kenya. Kindly help. You really need a job and you have a passport. Sorry. I mean, so you should sign up for a webinar, folks. So we're gonna start having like webinars. It'll be off. I shouldn't say this out loud. It'll be on another platform. Okay. Because it's easier to comment for me to be able to, or one of my team members, likely be me, to answer your questions, especially on TikTok. It's just more difficult to like type on my phone. So we'll keep you updated. We're gonna put the links um, down below after the show in general. Invite y'all. We'll need to do a post because I need to understand like what majority of the situation y'all are in, so that maybe it could be the first webinar. Dre, Jet, Silva. Well, that's my opinion on DACA. They need to provide you a residency pathway. That's my opinion. Will they ever move forward? It'll probably be another 5+ years, unfortunately. If anything, it could be President Biden, if he gets reelected, maybe a second term. Because I believe when President Obama I mean, got DACA passed through regulation, not through Congress, through regulation. I believe that was in his second term because Affordable Care Act Obamacare took forever on the first term. Nadine, I don't know what case study means. Who did the case study? Maybe a college or something? Jennifer, sounds like you need our guidance, right? Or you could join a webinar, but generally, even the webinar I wouldn't tell you like step by step. But to process fast, no, there's no like there's something called expedite request, but a lot of people are not getting granted the expedite request. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. A fiance visa is slow. It used to be fast, but it's slow. Okay. It's slower than the regular marriage visa. So if you're able to get married and you're willing to get married, I recommend that and not the fiance visa. So folks, I mean, here's the deal. Straight real talk, okay? Um some people think that fiance visa is going to be like your magic bullet. It used to be in terms of faster than the marriage pathway. And also is a pathway that some people think like, oh, we get these 90 days to like live together and make sure we are, compatible. Well, first of all, you should make sure you're compatible online at least and remotely, whatnot. And, hopefully you can spend some time abroad with that person, your significant other, because we've had stories. We help people get the status, the foreign national get residency, and then sayonara, they ditched. And I feel really bad for the US citizen as well. It's really discouraging. So I hope you're not one of them. Please do the right thing. It's a lot of emotional stress. But maybe you did the right thing and it just didn't work out. Like you didn't find yourself compatible with that US citizen. So, man, it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to find out, especially when you're in different countries. All right, off my little PSA, public service announcement. All right, now routes and routes. You're welcome for the feedback. For the information, you wait to the end of the month and you haven't gotten back a receipt notice. Okay, sounds good. Hopefully you don't need us, but because you submitted inquiry already. Your question, what's possible? I think your question, what's possible to file for your children back home and to your more send it to your current AOS once they get back to me? I don't know what you mean by send it to your current, like include them in your current AOS. That's not possible if you're here and you're the foreign national and you want to include children who are outside. It has to be if your spouse, assuming there's a spouse case, I think you may have mentioned that before, then your spouse has to file a separate petition for them. Um, but it's a strategy call. Okay, let me tell you why. I'm going to record a video about this later to upload later on. But let me give you a quick idea. Yeah, it's better. Roots and routes. Stay tuned, and anyone in a situation considering, we're going to upload a video hopefully in the next couple of days about this situation because a lot of people get confused who would be the better sponsor for the kids or stepkids, depending on who you are. Original sponsor, U.S. citizen, or the soon to become resident. And the short answer right now is right now, currently, it's the soon to be resident. Okay, so hopefully that helps. But I'll record a video to explain more why and share my screen and all that. Okay. Oh shoot, today's Wednesday, so I got a different team meeting right now. I can answer one more question. Appreciate y'all staying on. Let me see. It seems like I already answered some of these. Uh Moy, why lawyers don't use e-sign to get doc signed? All our contracts or quotes are all about e-signed. Um, but if you're talking about the USCIS form, you can't e-sign that. They technically, even though we can receive a scanned copy, they have to be able to tell it's signed by ink. Of course, we have some people that are able to e-sign, and it still looks like ink signature. We don't stop them as long as they know there's a risk that it could be rejected. Um, it's just that situation where some platforms, I don't know if it's Adobe or something. If you e-sign, then there's like the last page has like all that encrypted authentication information. It's like and we can't extract that last page. Like it's great to have in general, but with USCIS, we don't want to provide that extra authentication information because then they're going to know it's e-signature. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about, Moy, but maybe. Um, And Ronald responded to Moy saying you can do e-file, yeah, but only for like very few forms. Um, okay, folks. Okay, one more question. All right, one more question. Um, okay, maybe two more. Okay, maybe two more here. Your husband got a blue sheet, the 221G. Does that mean he's denied? No. We want to argue no. Okay. The U.S. attorney, when we file a lawsuit, eventually will say it's been adjudicated, means it's been processed for decision. But when they give you a blue sheet, pink sheet, whatever color, white sheet, if it says 221G or administrative processing, that means they need to collect more information. They ask you for certain documents. Sometimes they don't even ask you documents. They just put you in this black hole and it freaking sucks. It's ridiculous. Yes. Do they have legal authority to do that? Yes, they absolutely do. It's super frustrating. Okay. But if there's a list of certain things they want the foreign national to provide, you need to get it done as soon as possible because you don't want that to be a reason that they like continue delaying. But even when our clients have submitted everything, maybe even the next day within 24 hours, some people still have to wait 6 months, 1 year. It depends. Depends. It also depends on the country and nationality. Because 9/11 happened in 2001. It was so recent that they're still so worried about people from Middle East. It's ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. By the way, folks, if you haven't followed on your respective platform, give us a follow because we try to go live Monday to Friday unless my kid's sick. Alrighty. I appreciate it. If you have any questions and I wasn't able to answer live, come back on live show or give us a call or go to our website, greencardguys.com. Thank you so much and peace out.